This is Kate Davis with Created to Dance Ministries, and I have put together for you a DVD that I've titled Never Say Too Late. Some of us are older, heavier, recovering from injuries, we're older dancers. There's a plethora of reasons that we have slowed down. And I researched, Googled, looked up, tried to find this type of video. And when I did, all I found was people in their 60s and 70s and 80s sitting in chairs doing very geriatric movement, which is fine, they need that. But I'm not a young dancer who can do all of the dance moves I could do, and dancers can do when they're in their 20s. And so I thought we need something that's in between the two. So that's what this is. And it's divided up into sections for you so you can train and see the modifications. There's a section that's a warm-up breathing, little tiny stretch section. And then I decided to invite you to stretch with me on the beach so that it's just nothing but me talking very little and the waves and just following along and stretching with me. So this section right now, I'm going to teach you the moves and talk about the modifications. And you need to make sure, of course, a disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, I'm not, a medical professional or anything, so make sure it's okay with your doctor. I suffered myself from back injuries, leg injuries, hip injuries, and these are the things that have helped me. So I'm just doing this to hopefully help people. And so between what physical therapists taught me, what I learned from dance, I combined it all together. And so the first part you're going to see on the workout is a stretch to bend here. And the thing you want to remember is that you're going to push your waistline forward, but you're trying to keep it parallel to the ground, and then you're going to push it backwards. Now remember, you always want to keep yourself tucked and your stomach in. Well, for centuries, I'm not that old, I thought sucking in my navel, it was just so, sucking my stomach in, it was so weird to me. And one time in a dance class, she said, swallow your navel. Oh, that somehow triggered in me. So if that helps you, swallow your navel. You're going to hear me say swallow your navel, and it means suck in your gut and tuck. But it's hard to move if you're concentrating on tucking in your buttocks, and so swallowing your navel does both of those things very nicely. So with your navel swallowed, remember to push forward, keeping yourself parallel, and push backward. And then you're going to slowly roll over one vertebrae at a time, and you're going to feel this. And you only want to go as far as you feel able to go. I have worked a long time and can go all the way over. And when you get there, you're going to let your hands touch the floor, not touch the floor. It doesn't matter, but let the weight pull you a little bit. Now, a couple things I want you to notice, whether you can see it or not. I do not hyperflex my legs. I do not keep them stiff. That causes my brain to fill up with blood. I don't know why, but it does. And so I keep them slightly bent. I learned that in dance class, that I'm grounded if I keep my legs slightly bent. Now, I don't keep them this bent because I'm not going to get as good a stretch. But this stretch right now is about my low back and my hips, not my hamstrings. So I'm not worried about that. So I'm slightly bent when I do that. And so I go forward and roll and come back, keeping my waist parallel, and I roll over slowly, 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 as far as I can go. Knees are not, they're not bent, but they're not pushed back either. They are just slightly bent, so I don't lose my balance. I let my, far as I can go, and you're going to hold these stretches. And it's important to hold every stretch you do for around 20 seconds. For me, that's a slow count of 1, forgetting to tell you that when you come back up, you're going to want to do the unroll one vertebrae at a time. So I'm going to do it one time so you can do it with me to see how it's done. Swallow your navel, forward, back, roll, whole body roll, one vertebrae at a time, knees are slightly bent, over as far as you can go, let your head go down, help the stretch, and then roll up, one vertebrae at a time. That's that stretch that you will see, and we'll do that a couple of times. Then I go to the floor. That's the only standing up stretch I do in this part of the video. And so the way I go to the floor is the exact same move, but when I get down there, I carefully go to my knees. I'm going to pause and move the camera so you can see me. And so I'm down here, go bending over, but instead I'm bending my knees and I'm getting down to the ground. Now, cat stretches, that's what they're called. You need to know if you're allowed to do them. Some people exasperate a back injury by doing them, so don't do this part if it's that way. Also, if this hurts your knees, you're not going to want to get down here. You're going to want to skip this part. But this cat stretch, you are lifting up, swallowing your navel, you're lifting up in the cat haunched, head over. I put my hands up on my fist. I can even get a bigger stretch. I'm a very tall person, so I'm kind of long in the arm. And anyway, and then I come back down, and you carefully, slowly, keeping your navel swallowed, you go concave. And you're stretching that. And I like to tuck my toes under me when I do this part. When I go up the other way, I kind of point them. But for this part, I stick them under, rolled under. You see my toe? Not put out, rolled under. And then carefully roll myself back up. Get a big stretch. And I might do this 2 or 3 times, but I'm not going to for today for the instruction part. So then, from here, you're going to carefully sit back on your knees, rolling slowly. You're getting into a ball, and you may only be able to go this far. Again, you're still on your knees, and so you may not be able to do this if you have knee problems. But you're going as far as that stretch will let you. Roll all the way over. You should feel this all the way through this low back area if you have those kind of issues. So then you stretch it here, and you hold it for the 20 seconds. I'm not going to hold it for 20 seconds. None of these teachings I'm going to hold for 20 seconds because at the beach, we'll do them for 20 seconds. So then after you've done that, you're going to carefully unroll, but this time you're going to stay on your knees. And this part really hurts, especially if you've had any kind of leg injuries at all or your knees give you trouble. When I first started, I had to do this. I have friends, they're still there, where they have to lift themselves up off their knees, and this is as far back as they can go. That's okay, because the point is to just do it until you go a little bit further and a little bit further. And so eventually you can sit like this and stay there and feel the stretch and lean back. And if you have a pillow or something behind you to help you not feel like you're going to fall. And what you want to do is eventually get that stretch as far back as you can possibly get it, and even let your head drop so that you're getting a nice stretch through the top of your feet, around and through the top of your thighs, and a little bit through your hip flexors. And you'll hold that for the 20 seconds. And then you carefully sit yourself back up, roll forward, and we're going to get to our bottoms. So we want to sit on our bottoms, okay? Whew. And you're going to, sorry, I was distracted. Woo. Spread your legs out as far as you can. Do not worry about whether you're only this far out, if you're as far as I can go out, or I have dancing friends older than me who can actually stick their legs straight out because they never stopped. So anyway, what you're going to do is sit up straight and get your legs out as far as you can and lean into it. Now, I like to lift my butt up, not my butt, but lift my body up using my arms and pushing myself forward that way because I get a better, less stressful stretch than if I let go of my arms and go this way. Sometimes that stresses my back. But whichever way works for you, just stretch forward. And you can touch the ground here if that works for you. Or you can touch your ankles, your toes. You're going to see that I can touch my toes through these stretches. I couldn't a few years back. It's taken time. But where you should feel this stretch is going to be right in here. All right? So then you're just stretching. It's not the back of your hamstring, but it almost is. Did you know we have millions of muscles? When I got injured a couple years ago, I had an injury that constituted every muscle in my leg, from my knee up through my low back, almost in my groin area, all the way around, front and back. Every single muscle was in a spasm. I didn't know. I thought we had a muscle and a muscle. It's not true. So thanks to the physical therapist that I was blessed to have work on my leg, she worked on one tiny muscle at a time to get it to get out of spasm. So point being, if I say you're stretching this group as opposed to this group of muscles, then that's why I say it. I try to stretch out every group of muscles I have now. So then, okay, you saw what I did, right? I use my hand to lift my leg because I don't want to strain my back. And you bring this leg straight in front of you, and you make this leg into a, bring it up. Kind of like crisscross applesauce, only I can't do crisscross applesauce. No way. And I can't do the you'll see, there's lots of things I can't do still. And if you can only bring it up this far, you only bring it up this far. Whatever comfort level you have, that's the whole point of doing this. But this is going to begin to stretch this section back here, as well as your hamstrings on this side. Watch. Get it in here, and as much as you can, bend over and touch your toes. If you can't get all the way, touch your ankle and grab them. And you're going to use this elbow to push down a little bit right there. You'll definitely feel this through the back of your calf, knee, and hamstring. And you probably won't feel too much in your hip on the other side, but we're getting the back of the leg. And like I said, I'm not holding these for as long as I should. I'm going to come up and I push this out. And get this one closer to me if you can. Just get it closer to you and lean over. You're going to feel a whole new stretch up through here. Different set of muscles stretching right there. All right. And then, oh, yes. I lean back, and we're going to push on this leg. And we're just kind of just stretching out a little bit, this hip flexor thing, and stretching this area out. It's kind of like stretching the groin area of the body. It's amazing to me, the places that can get knotted up for no reason at all. We don't know for sure what caused that injury a few years ago, but had to do with riding my bicycle, riding a horse, riding a boat, getting in a boat. We're not sure. Anyway, so then you push this one, carefully come up, and you're going to bend this one behind you. Now, in the dancer world, they tell you to make sure you're sitting on your buttocks. That can be hard, especially if you've had trouble with your hips and sitting flat, but you do the best you can. And for this one, we're gonna rotate carefully. So now we're stretching the hip and back through here on this side, and we're gonna hold it, although you know I'm not holding it, so don't count. And then we're going to twist gently to the other side. Hold, grabbing our knee and stretching around to the other side. And count to 10 or use your 20-second timer. And then, trying to be square over my hips, I lean back into it as far as I can. Can't lean very far back, that's okay. Just lean back as far as you can. Now, this stretch, you want this in a 4 in front of you, if possible. I call it a 4, I'm not sure that's right. And this leg stretched out straight behind you. Straight behind you does not work for those of us who are working on this. So you put it out as far behind you as you can. I get mine out behind me before I put this in a 4. So carefully push it back there as far as I can get it. See, I kind of wiggle it there. And then I make sure this one's in a square. And you lean into it as far as you can. You're going to feel the stretch here. You're going to feel stretch here. This stretch is a whole lot. And lean over as far as you can. But don't worry about if it's not as far as anybody else. Never worry about if you're doing the same thing as anybody else. And hold it and stretch. My goodness. Now, if I was able to get my legs straight behind me, I would be accomplishing the next stretch at the same time. But I'm not. So I do this next stretch to accomplish that part. So I put this up under me as far as I can and roll up. Again, this might be hard for people with knee issues, all right? And I'm going to turn so you can see my hip flexor. Again, I'm going to tuck my toe up under me. And what I'm trying to do is get this part stretched. And so I just lean into it and kind of lift my head a little bit and really push into it so that I can feel it through my abdomen and my groin right there. And then I carefully release and roll onto my hip and go further down. And that I can feel in the other hip. This feels really good, guys. I hope it feels good to you. I'm going to hold it a minute just because it feels good. All right, and then I roll up very carefully. And I do the other side. All right, and so then I'm going to go through it real quick because it is exactly the same. So it's up here, and it's a stretch like that. You know, we're holding them. And then it's out, and a stretch over. And then it's going to be a push this leg down. Then it's going to be a fold it carefully. Remember, you got to fold it carefully. And you're going to twist, gently twist, and then you're going to gently twist the other way, remembering not to worry that you're not sitting flat, but do sit as flat as you can. And then you're going to, oh, I almost forgot, stretch back. It's just a repeat of what we did on the other side. And then you put this leg out behind you as far as you can. Maybe you can see it in the mirror. And you're going to have this in a square in front of you. Square, not 4. I don't want to call it 4. Anyway. And, oh, this feels good. Leaning into it. Ah. I like my stretches. They kind of help a lot. I used to be so crippled in the back with low back stuff. So make sure, like I said before, that your doctor says it's good. But you put this one up, and remember you're lifting, you're tucking your toe under you, turn so you can see it from this side, and you're lifting up a little bit and really pressing into that groin area through your abdomen and groin. That stretch feels really good. Okay, and then you roll over and stretch down some more. And carefully roll up. All right, now, this last part on sitting up, because we're going to go lay flat on our back in a minute. But for this part, You bring these in as close as you can. If you can only do here, do here. If you can get them all the way in and flat, I can't, do that. I'll tell you a secret. A Bosu ball behind you, or even the wall behind you, or the couch, something behind you to help support your back, when you do this one, makes this feel really, really good. But you're just gonna push those down and stretch that out as much as you can. Stretching, stretching, stretching. And then put your legs straight in front of you, toes flexed towards you, up straight, lean over and grab your toes if you can, and pull yourself as far forward as you can. If you can't reach your toes, grab your knees or your ankles, whatever part of your body, and lean over as much as you can. And come back up. And we're going to go flat on our back. We'll try to decide the best angle for this. All right. And you always want to keep yourself protected when you go flat on your back. So lifting your knees and using your arms to help you get down so that you don't hurt yourself when you get down here. And we're going to do what it came from Pilates, is where this came from. And what I do is I just lift my pelvis ever so slightly. And you can get lots of Pilates DVDs and videos out there if you want to learn more about Pilates. But this was the part that I use that helps me in my stretching, strengthening routine. And so I just lift here, and I might do a little bit more and do some pulses. Lift myself up higher and do pulses. So you can probably see that at the beach. And then, I'm off the video, I don't think you need to see my face. What's next? Ah, yes. This is a stretch that a lot of people do, and they put their hands through here to hold their leg. I have a hard time with that, especially on the other side because of hip injuries. So I tend to rest my hand here to push this back a little bit, and I kind of use this hand to pull it far closer to me. So that is the stretch right there for that. And you're going to feel this through your hip. And then when you're done, you hold that one for the 20 seconds. You carefully, this hand stays flat and this rolls over. You will feel this through your low back and your hips. It really opens that up amazingly. Amazingly opens that up. You're not trying to pop your back. I guess if it pops, then that's just meant to be, but you're not trying to do that. You're stretching through your gluteal muscles and your low back. So then, after that, you're going to carefully roll forward. Roll onto your side, and you're going to do an oyster clamshell. Your ankles are together, and you're straight, and you want your hips leaning back ever so slightly. You don't want to lean this way to do it. You want them leaning back, but not too far back. And you're lifting up your leg and closing. And lifting and closing. Lifting and closing. And do that for several times, 5 or 6 times. So then, there's this stretch where everybody does standing up to stretch this muscle really well. Well, if you're recovering, you're overweight, you haven't done this in forever, whatever your reasons, it can be very difficult to do that stretch because you can't get a hold of your foot. You can't lift your foot up. I discovered right here, actually a physical therapist helped me, I can lift my leg up and grab my ankle and carefully pull it as far as I can pull it to stretch that muscle. That's stretching the muscle through the top of my thigh. I even sometimes will roll back on it just to get a little bit more stretch. I don't mean roll back all the way on it, but where my toe is touching the floor and giving me a little bit of balance, and I'm pulling that heel to my bottom as far as I can. Remember, you're only going to pull it as far as you can. And what would I do? I would roll over now to the other side and do the exact same thing on the other side. I'm not going to do that because we do that in the video. I mean, in the at the beach. So I think that's all of it. I will see. Remember, when you get up off the floor, to chill a minute. You know, you just sat up. Don't let the blood rushing to your head make you dizzy and get up too fast. And when you stand up, get up nice and slowly, and I'll see you at the beach.